This is a What to Win Waves video, but it's not. We're reacting to HexJuices video. Shout out to Hex. Hex is the actual GOAT. I have nothing but mad respect and love for Hex. Why Gacha wars will never end. Things have calmed down ever since this video came out. Obviously, I was on a little break because my girlfriend was here, my shoulder surgery. But I still think eventually, obviously, war will happen again. War. Can we get some wars in the chat? But so, I want to watch this because I think Hex is a very well-spoken person who understands objectively and subjectiveness. And I feel like the community instigates a little bit. And so I'm very excited to see what Hex has to say about everything. Because, again, I truly glazing over, but I do think Hex is a fucking genius. So let's say.
I was in the depths of Gacha tribalism hell. I made a video that I still think about quite often. It was called Honkai Star Rail's Community is Doomed, which was definitely not inflammatory or exaggeratory at all.
Was it true, though? Was it true?
And it came from a very specific moment in my time as an HSR content creator. At that point, I was about 3 months out from my very well-known Dr. Ratio take.
Bro, this motherfucker's buns. I'm sorry. He's ass. I'm just going to tell you. I think people were really excited that there was a free, somewhat DPS / follow-up unit. But I think he's buns. I was like one of the 2 people who thought Dr. Ratio was bad. I actually wonder where Dr. Ratio lands right now. I'm just curious. Does anyone know if Dr. Ratio is still technically considered to be good? Honkai Star Rail. And let's see. Tier list. Like tier 2. No surprise to me. Oh, they don't have the thingy here, right? Okay, let me see. Maybe even lower. T1.5. T1.5 for Memory of Chaos. Did I miss him? Did I miss him? Did I scroll over him? Wait. Guys, am I just stupid? Where is he? Pure Fiction ain't it? Is he just not here? Oh, Dr. Ratio. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Oh my god. Tier 5. Okay, so he's tier 5 there. W. Okay. Love to see it. And then Apocalyptic Shadow. Okay. He's tier 1.5. Okay, so the moral of the story is bro is buns. Bro is buns. Power creep is crazy.
And I was super frustrated. Though this video was born from that frustration with the player base,
Pure Fiction's not endgame though. I mean, is it considered endgame? I think it kind of is. I don't know. I mean, that's a whole different conversation. But oh no, not that. There we go.
A lot of parts of it have a ton
I did not see him.
I was fed up with my chat, and I did a lesson about the difference between a fact and an opinion. And it's kind of become this like ongoing joke in my community since we actually found out it was a lot harder for lots of people to tell the difference than you'd probably expect. The reason I'm telling you this is twofold. One is that while I like this video and a lot of the points that I made in it, my perspective has shifted quite a lot over time. The second is the obvious, which is that tweets by a few Gacha content creators recently have ruffled some feathers in a way that I personally think is related to this topic.
To be fair, and again, I can't speak for Rednew. I won't say Rednew's intentions. But I absolutely think this tweet is definitely inflammatory, obviously. It's like, hey, if you engage with it, I will make a video 1000%. But also, like, at the time, that really bad video was going around that we reacted to, and a bunch of people reacted to it. I reacted to it. Genocide reacted to it. Saint reacted to it. Cap reacted to it. This video, the worst take in Gacha history. And I think that Red was making a tweet to kind of just, like, maybe add to the conversation. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, Red News not guilty or something, but I also think there is some context to this tweet. I don't think it was just randomly him, and I'm not saying Hex didn't say this, but it wasn't just randomly him saying, you know, well, I want to cause war. Hex's opinion on fact versus opinion is fine, but it doesn't account for hyperbole, which is what a lot of people are doing, and they probably don't know what the word for it is, dude. So wait, what? I'm confused. Yeah, no, but a lot of people are talking in facts, right? A lot of people are saying this is factually happening. and they're not stating it as an opinion. But let's continue. I get what you're saying.
So
I want to let her yeah first.
This is going to be the difference between a fact and an opinion, why it matters, and how I think it is one of the biggest reasons that everyone cannot stop fighting in the gacha space. Subscribe!
That scared the fucking shit out of me. I'm sorry. This is the greatest intro of all time,
simple.
but still.
Maybe even arguably too simple. Just to make sure we're on the same page. I
scared
promise,
the shit
though,
out of me.
This is going somewhere interesting. A fact is something that is known to be objectively true.
What up, Tom? What up, baby?
Proven via quantitative or measurable data.
Yo.
It is objectively true that the sun
It's objectively true that I'm the greatest fucking content creator of all time. Yep. Okay, cool.
Rises in the east and sets in the west. And it is objectively true that Genshin Impact was released on September 28th of 2020 in the US. These are facts. An opinion is a judgment that an individual creates around a particular topic that is not necessarily based upon quantitative or measurable data, but usually more so on personal preference, experience, and realistically, bias. Personally, I prefer Wuthering Waves over other gacha games. Yeah. Some people prefer Zenless Zone Zero, or Genshin, or Honkai Star Rail, or PGR, or Cookie Run Kingdom. Those are all opinions.
Cookie Run Kingdom, shout out. W.
Might be upset with me for simply stating my preference for Wuthering Waves. Most will shrug their shoulders and think, well, fair enough. Now, what if I say Wuthering Waves is better than other gacha games, or alternatively, I think Wuthering Waves is better than other gacha games? I would expect this to ruffle a lot more feathers. But why is that? Well, that's because there is a difference between a statement of fact and a statement of opinion. When you're making a statement of opinion, you'll use connotative language that is less definitive and more based around personal values and perspectives. Conversely, you'll know you're making a statement of fact if you're using objective or denotative language, implying that what you're saying is an absolute capital T truth.
And this is why there's war. I'm not even trying to be funny. This is exactly why there's war.
The tricky part is a statement of fact does not necessarily contain an actual fact. You can state your personal opinion as if it is a fact, and that's where the problem often lies.
I also think, I don't know, maybe she addresses this, but I feel like a lot of people, including myself, we all have egos in the space. And I feel like a lot of people just think that their opinion is fact. And so, they're like, well, it's just right. And it might be sometimes. Like, Genshin Impact has bad quality of life. That is just a right statement. Compared to Wuthering Waves, you might not like it, but that is the actual fucking truth. But then, like, a pokey tweet saying, like, again, going back to the original tweet of, power creep is the fault of the players. And then speaking of it as a fact, and then kind of doubling down on it until clarifying his stance, that's a problem. That's like, okay, this is where war comes in, because you can debate that.
When I say I prefer Wuthering Waves over other gacha games, that is both an opinion and a statement of opinion. When I say Wuthering Waves is better than other gacha games, that is my opinion, since it can't be proved empirically, but I'm also stating it as if it is a fact. But many of us have a bad habit of saying those opinions as if they are objectively true, and that causes friction. Now we get into the problem of most gacha community discourse. The reality is, in the process of consuming media, very few things we talk about are actually facts. 99% of everything we say about these games are just opinions. I'm going to use the Pokey Red New tweet as an example of this, mostly because it's relatively simple and because a lot of people are currently familiar with it. I want to be clear that this is in no way an attempt for me to shit on those two creators or put them down.
Usually speaking, we're usually speaking with the waves, but
I'm just going to use this situation as an example to illustrate what I want to talk about, since this is a topic that can really easily get into the weeds and get overly complicated without a solid anchor. So here is the statement.
I got you 2 seconds, Nox.
I think Zenless Zone Zero's combat is a lot better than Wuthering Waves'. Now, is this a statement of fact or a statement of opinion?
I like war, though. I love hot takes and arguing over them. I do too, actually. Well, I don't like war, but I like having these conversations when it doesn't get yo, see, and then there's a tweet like this. Like Ithoma, Echo loadouts are shitty addition for lazy people. Change my mind. Like this is a fact. This is a fact. You're all fucking lazy, stupid, and greedy assholes. When you say a subjective statement, it's implied to be an opinion, though. But I get what she's saying. So here's the thing, though, and it's a double-edged sword. Because I get what you're saying, Tiger, 1000%. I really do. Like, Pokey is saying this is his opinion, but also it doesn't come off like that. Well, no. I'm going to defend. I think Zenless Zone Zero Combat's a lot better than Withering Waves. And then if this post pisses enough people off or has enough, I'll make a video explaining why. I want to see what she says. It's a little tricky. I think that a lot of the negative response came to this just because it was Pokey. And also because this is kind of instigating hard body, right?
Actually trickier than you might think.
Yeah.
Saying I think at the beginning of the statement obviously implies that it's an opinion. But the rest of the statement, Zenless Zone Zero's combat is a lot better than Wuthering Waves, ultimately is a statement of fact due to the use of definitive.
It's a fact that it's an opinion. No, but shines on the money right here. Issue is when you say is better than, you are comparing a factual way, hence it stops. That's an opinion trying to pass as a fact, not a pre-watch. Pre-watch is crazy. But yeah, no, I agree with you. That's an opinion trying to pass as a fact. Now, granted, you can make an argument why are people upset about some random dude's opinion. That's a whole different story, right? Yes, you don't need to qualify your argument. This is opinion when it's when it's objectively subjective. What's up, Trousers? I think it varies. I think it depends. People use I think rhetorically as softened statement, so it's not this black and white is all at all. I assume you mean at all, but I agree with you. It's not black and white. But again, I think he said this with the intentions to cause war, right? And so, I mean, he just copy pasted Red News tweets. So he's obviously trolling and shit. But it does come off, like Shine said, as a fact, but him putting I think to lessen the blow. So he could be like, well, that's just my opinion. Now, again, why people were mad at this, I think that's a whole different conversation, but it is what it is.
Language. Slapping on an I think or an in my opinion before or after a statement of fact doesn't make it not a statement of fact. This is because the statement is better rather than something that is clearly more of an opinionated statement, like I enjoy Zenless Zone Zero's combat better, or the combat feels more exciting to me, or something similar to that. So what's the problem with that? Why were so many people upset about this tweet? And why the hell are you even talking about this, HexJuice? The answer is because the way we talk about things matters. The framing we use to get our thoughts out into the world determines how people will respond to us. The thing about opinions is they're like assholes. Everyone has them. Facts should ultimately be uncontroversial because they're essentially agreed upon by everyone because they're experienced to be true by everyone or proven to be true by science. It's not controversial for me to say that Wuthering Waves is an open-world, action-based RPG gacha game because that's a fact. It's not controversial for me to say that about Genshin Impact. It is an open world action-based RPG gacha game. It's arguable, however, to say which one is the better open world action-based RPG gacha game because it's not, technically speaking, a fact, even if I really like Wuthering Waves and really don't like Genshin Impact. Our opinions are guided by our values and experiences. I love playing Wuthering Waves because the exploration, especially in 2.0, is a lot of fun for me. It feels dynamic and smooth and exciting. The characters have designs that I really enjoy and I love to play because the combat fits my personal preferences, and the developer, Kuro Games, listens to the community by incorporating feedback in a way that makes the game more enjoyable for me to play with every new patch. I dislike Genshin because the exploration feels clunky and frustrating, especially when stamina depletes when I'm running outside of combat. The character designs have appealed to me less and less over time as they feel repetitive and often lack a color contrast that I prefer. The elemental combat system feels too simplistic for me, and the developer rarely incorporates community feedback or does so in a way that feels unsatisfying or frustrating to me. However, these are all based on my personal preferences and personal.
Now, she's saying it's based on her personal preferences. And I'm just being honest with you. I deliver that shit as a fact. I personally do in my videos when I shit on Genshin. I do. Because to me, it's a fact. But it is what it is. I realistically, there is no fact. Everyone's preferences are different. So some people actually might not enjoy the things about Wuthering Waves and love the things about Genshin. So there realistically is no fact of the situation. But yes, like I'm 1000% guilty of it. I deliver it in a completely more harsh way or whatever. The person said that they thought Woo combat was clunky, feels bad, but they also played with Calchero. So I think there's a fine line of having like. I think the problem in the community is not only the way we communicate, but why people like how people interpret things, right? Like I feel like sometimes all gacha communities feel really, really, really obsessive about their game. And I think like in a situation like that, a lot of people probably get upset by that statement when the normal reaction should just be, fucking, it is what it is. You can either help them You have 3 options with that, right? You could help them, be like, no, maybe you should try this. You could ignore them, or you can tell them to go fuck themselves, right? And so I feel like, in a way, Hex is cooking here right now. But if you, and obviously there's always going to be those weirdos, but if you word something as subjective, or you give the critical thinking behind changing something, the people are still going to take it to heart and go off. So I think war will never end, not only just for the way people word things, but also for the fact that all gacha communities are fucking insane. All of them, right? Some opinions are based on more objective facts than others. 100% Tiger, without a doubt. Yeah. 100%. Also, good Amethyst. What up, baby?
I prefer exploration with more freedom of movement and character designs that are less color saturated and more mature. I personally value combat that feels like it has more skill expression.
Let's go, Cass. Good morning, man.
Developers that consistently look to please their players.
What up, brother?
Another person just might not see it that way, though. They might have completely different values or value certain things more or less than I do. Someone who really enjoys Genshin might genuinely enjoy the exploration of the game and not mind that the stamina meter depletes when they're out of combat. They might really value the flashiness and fun behind the elemental system, or might not value combat with more complexity. They might have a personal preference for more colorful character designs. As far as the developers are concerned, another person might not see the need for the improvements
I just like the game
for Genshin Impact.
I just like it. It's very fun to me.
Player feedback being incorporated might not inhibit their personal enjoyment of
Genshin Impact is really good fame. I love it.
It's
really nice.
Based on personal values and preference. I might disagree with them, and they might think I have some major L takes. But none of these statements were facts. You'll notice that I continued on here to speak on Genshin Impact versus Wuthering Waves, and not Zenless Zone Zero combat versus Wuthering Waves combat. There's a reason for that. The games, in my opinion, are not similar enough in their combat for the comparison to be useful or interesting. While they're both action-based, they're meant to appeal to totally different preferences. Wuthering Waves has very fluid combat with a lot of strategy involved.
I will say, I get why people compare ZZZ to Wuwa's combat because of the fact they're both flashy, they both have dodges, they both have parries. So you instantly think, oh my god, like I have to compare these two. But I don't think they're comparable. I genuinely don't. I think they both have positives, they both have negatives about their combat. I really think Genshin is the better comparison if you had to decide to compare. I feel like comparing the two is like fucking apples to like a horse. Like it's just like, okay, like yes, they both have dodges and parrying, but one's a completely open world game, the other one's a fucking TV simulator. Now I love ZZZ, I think ZZ's killing it. But it's like, holy shit, bro. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Was a good trousers. This is where I believe the problem arises. When a large CC states an opinion, a lot of followers said the CC adopt that opinion starts to overtake mindshare as fact. Well, I mean, that's in any genre of anything, right? You know, like that's not necessarily like always the content creator's fault. Like a lot of people are just stupid and don't think for themselves, or some people don't have a genuine understanding of things, get one side of the token, they hear it's like, oh wow, they cooked, right? So but no, I think the main problem is just the crazy gacha tribalism. The way everyone, including myself, word things is very important, very, very, very important, and I try to be as respectful as possible at times. Other times I don't really care, especially when I'm being attacked. But like, yeah, I just don't see the gacha wars ever dying, even if we speak nicely. You know, even I've said nice things about Genshin, I'm still told to jump into a car in Roblox, you know?
Many units can be played in a couple different ways, and teams can be structured around them with a lot of variety. This brings a lot of skill and playstyle expression into the game. For me, it even sometimes feels close to a Souls-like, though it's obviously not exactly the same.
Sin would never stop talking about it.
Dodge and parry timings, never stop. Especially when battling holograms. Zenless Zone Zero is a lot faster with the combo switch system. It's very flashy, with big impact frames and great sound design. The parry system is much less precise, but very satisfying due to the animations and the sound cues. Stylistically, it's also very appealing. It has a relatively lower skill ceiling, but there are plenty of ways to play the units and teams with hidden combos and tech that a player can choose to engage with or almost entirely ignore. One person might actually enjoy both simply because they fulfill totally different desires for combat in a game. And a lot of people enjoy different kinds of combat. I personally
What's going on, Mia? How are you? It's just a normal tribalism. Ask people about the best MMO. Oh, for sure. I mean, obviously, tribalism is normal in any form of media, sports, right? Wrestling. I mean, it's normal. I think just obviously, I have found Genshin and gacha tribalism worse than any other video game tribalism that I've encountered in my whole life. League of Legends tribalism, Dota tribalism, Xbox versus PlayStation, Nintendo. Like, I have found the gacha community to be the most insufferable human beings personally that I've encountered. So yeah, and it's not just Genshin, it's all of them. It's absolutely all of them. So tribalism is definitely not something unique to just gacha games. But the way they attack and do these crazy things, it's pretty pathetic in my opinion. It's pretty sad.
Elden Ring and Cookie Run Kingdom, all for their combat, all of which are very
it's definitely not new
in their appeal. So, comparing the combat of Zenless Zone Zero and Wuthering Waves feels really silly to
Not
me.
anymore,
It's
Sen.
like apples and oranges.
There's adults too.
Maybe you think Wuthering Waves'
But
combat is better because it has higher complexity than Zenless Zone Zero's, but that's because you personally value complex combat, just like someone might prefer the crunch and sweetness of an apple. Someone else might enjoy the flashiness and lower complexity of Zenless because it feels fun to them, and they don't always enjoy more difficult combat.
Oh, I got you in a second, Mia,
like
for sure. I got you in a moment.
The tanginess and juiciness of an orange.
I got you in a moment.
Personally, I like Wuthering Waves combat better.
Mamma Mia!
I'm also a big fan of oranges, but that isn't science. That's just my opinion. It's also okay to say that something isn't very good or acknowledges flaws and still enjoy it. Love and Deep Space's combat system is not very good. I'm pretty sure that could actually be like an objective fact, game design-wise, or at least most people would probably agree with me. However, I still like the game a lot and recommend anyone who likes hot men to play it because it's fun for a lot of other reasons. And the combat can be completed almost entirely through autoplay. An example I've often given is that reality television is not exactly the most enriching media experience, but I enjoy a bit of brain rot on my second monitor when I'm clearing the endgame in my gacha games or, I don't know, writing a script on YouTube.
Why play Love and D-Space when you can watch me? Exactly. Drop 5 gifted subs and I got to oil up this week. We're oiling up this week, boys. But just watch me instead of give me money, you know? Give me money. I'm real. I'm real.
Is it that good? No. But it's enjoyable to me, and so I like it. A lot of people love Sharknado, even though...
Oh my god, fucking Sharknado's the worst thing since God's green fucking earth. I hate Shark. Anyways, that's a perfect example. The point is, though, she's cooking right here because, like, you can just simply say... Because going back to the sunk cost fallacy thing you said, a lot of people don't want to admit that something is just bad or they're being taken advantage of or the company's doing bad things and shit. A lot of them, Sharknado's the best, worst movie of all time, 100%. It really is. Because of sunk cost fallacy, like, I love Destiny 2. Destiny 2 is by far probably one of the worst games of all time. It had the greatest potential. Like, it was so fucking good. And that shit fell off a cliff so hard. It's actually sad how bad it became. And I spent about $500 on DLC. And out of those $500, only about $70 worth of the DLC is actually still in the game. And that was about 2 years ago. I love that game, but it's fucking dog shit. It's just horrendous. And I feel like part of the problem with the war is people can't admit that. They can't admit, okay, it's really not that great. It's really not that good. I'm not really a big fan of this, but you know, fuck it, it is what it is. I love it, and it is what it is. Destiny's still the best FPS for controllers. Destiny 2 gameplay is amazing, but everything else is fucking bad about it. Buy the Ethan 100 pack, get more valuable? Exactly. It's not good. My friend who's an adult plays against you with the majority of the players are young kids. Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, but all gacha people are insufferable, right? But yeah, no, she's absolutely cooking. I wish people could just take a step back and be like, nah, I get it. Nah, I could see your point, right? Again, I know sometimes I could be rude, I guess, if you want to say, or harsh with my delivery, but like most of the time I'm speaking, right? You know, especially about the Genshin shit. I think when there's Destiny, the gameplay's phenomenal. Yeah, the gameplay's phenomenal, but everything else is dog shit. So if there's nothing to do, the gameplay's just kind of there, right? But, you know.
It's considered to be a really poorly made movie. In the same vein, something can be really well made and generally agreed upon to be good, and it's still okay for you to not enjoy it.
Yup.
I adore Hades, and it's generally a beloved game with excellent reviews. But that's not gonna mean shit to you if you don't like the roguelite genre, Greek mythology, or rock music. That doesn't mean that all opinions are valid or immune to criticism, though. If my opinion is that all gachas with a 50-50 should instead make it a 10-90 because I like the risk of gambling and a 50-50 isn't enough for me, maybe I should just go to a casino. Or, I don't know, get help for my gambling addiction.
Let's go gambling!
People would be concerned by that opinion because it completely spits in the face of my personal interests and the personal interests of other players. To those that value being pro-consumer, there's certainly a debate to be had about making gacha games more predatory. It doesn't benefit anyone, and therefore that opinion should be looked at critically. The same can be said if an opinion is based on misinformation. For example, if you value combat in gacha games and would never consider playing Love and Deep Space because it's bad, because it's all dry humping and no combat, newsflash,
it's not true.
The game does actually have combat.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
There is things to Love and Deep Space. It's not just
that nobody knew that
think.
Until recently, though obviously the game is still not for everybody. The point of all of this is to say that it is...
I also think it's okay to... I think a lot of people in the gacha space are just misinformed about a lot of things. If you want me to be honest with you, I think a lot of people are just fucking stupid. I'm not saying I'm not stupid. I'm absolutely stupid as well. I'm a fucking massive idiot. But I think a lot of people just don't play other video games or enjoy any other types of forms of media. And so I feel like a lot of the times these people come up with these crazy takes or these crazy opinions, and it's like, dude, that is the most fucking out of touch shit of all time. Like, what the fuck are you smoking? Because I would love a puff. Because, like, holy shit. So that's the other thing. I feel like a lot of the times, like, these people, they just don't know anything other than their 1 or 2 gacha games and kind of call it a day. And then they get really defensive because their idea is pretty much based on misinformation or the fact that, like, they're just not fully informed. So it's like, well, okay, I guess. But yeah, pretty shit.
To have opinions, but the way we frame and engage with our opinions matters. Only those with very bizarre mental states would be upset to find that Mr. Pokey or Rednu preferred the combat in Zenless Zone Zero to Wuthering Waves. Most people understand that an opinion is based around personal preferences. It can feel upsetting, however, when someone states an opinion as if it is a fact. Should it feel so genuinely upsetting to the point that people are freaking out and sending death threats to people, like in a lot of situations in Gacha? Obviously not. These are just games after all. In a perfect world, other people's opinions on Wuthering Waves or Zenless Zone Zero would be completely irrelevant to everyone. If you yourself have a hard time coping with someone disliking your favorite game, it might be time to take a break, look inward, and maybe even touch some grass. However, when we state our opinion as if it is a fact, it will create friction. Not only because people will disagree, but also because you won't have objective data to back it up. Just more of your own opinions.
Am I like an asshole for thinking that, even if someone, like, okay, I think the VARs video is a good example of, like, as a content creator, right? I fucking reacted to that video. I ripped it apart. The other video, from the HC Casual dude, I absolutely ripped that fucking video to shreds. It was genuinely one of the worst fucking videos I've ever watched, right? I think that even those, it's kind of okay to just say, fuck it, this guy's stupid, and move on. I feel like a lot of people in the gacha community don't do that. Now, I'm part of it. I'm absolutely part of it. Now, granted, I'm fucking reacting to it. I'm making a bag off of reacting to something, so I'm gonna put a light to it. But even sometimes, like, I look at, like, tweets that, like, people get upset about, whether it's Pokey or other shit. I'm just like, who the fuck cares, bro? Like, just fucking play the game. Just fucking play the game you enjoy. We had people arguing here earlier about semantics if 2.1 is a filler patch. Who the fuck cares? Filler or not, if it's gonna be a great patch, just fucking enjoy it. Like, just shut the fuck up and play. Like why are we why are we arguing over this shit? You know? Oh well, Ethan, you said it's a filler patch. Yeah, it was fucking 5 a.m. and I didn't think it was main story. Fucking Jarvis cut his balls off. Like, what the fuck? Let's ignore the opinion. Yeah, I just think, like, also we need to teach people to learn to just walk away. Like Hex said, just don't care. It will be okay, I promise. You know, I feel bad that I only know Gacha to Woo because my friend plays HSR. HSR, you know, I'm actually going to get into it a little bit. I want to try ZZZ, and I'm really not that much into HSR now. Should I uninstall HSR? Yeah, Hex, fucking try it. See how you like it. This having to be explained reflects poorly on the gacha space. I feel like the average mental maturity level of the gacha player has to be that of a 15-year-old. The thing is that, don't forget to twist the nipples 100%. The thing is, purple. The thing is that, like, this is such a small subsection of the gacha space. Like, Genshin Impact has 60 million monthly players, right? Or that was the numbers, like, maybe last year. Let's just say it's 60 million. Maybe 5 million of them are active on social media. Maybe out of those 5 million, 3 million are toxic. I don't know. I'm making up random numbers right now. Like, even that is not the majority. So even when I make blanket statements saying, like, hey, listen, like, everyone in Genshin's fucking stupid. I mean, it's not correct, right? It's obviously not correct. When I say everyone in Woo was soft, it's not correct either. But, like, Yeah, it's just like the ones who are on social media and interacting with content and doing things have some of the softest skin ever. Also, Valet, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate you, bro. Dab me up. Thank you. Just the thing of the Philip Patrick arguments has got good. So this is what we have to fight each other on now. Like, bro, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, nobody cares. So yeah, no, I agree with you. A lot of them, I don't even know if that they're like young and like fucking young adults or they're just stupid, you know. But it's just crazy to me, you know. It's kind of wild that HexJuice has to make a video like this explaining fact from fiction. Now, again, content creators, including myself, are guilty of speaking as if things are fact. Also, Kevin, welcome in, brother. But still, it's insane that this is even a conversation. Which just creates this
cycle of endless arguing. It also creates an environment where everyone is constantly trying to prove themselves right when it's really just a bunch of random people yapping about their personal preferences, especially in this particular case. It's fantastic to debate about your values, ask questions, be critical, and talk about your interests with others. It's actually one of my favorite things. I love being loud and opinionated on the internet. What I've realized more and more is that if I want to be heard, I have to understand that not everyone values the same things as me. I have very strong beliefs about the predatory practices of Hoyoverse and a lot of gacha developers in general, but no one will listen to me if I make them feel stupid for not agreeing with me or not understanding my position without explaining it to them. Maybe this should be common sense, but I've realized how much I've missed the mark on this in a lot of my older content. This is also something I think many gacha content creators, gacha game players, and people in general fail to keep in mind. The point is to debate about ideas, acknowledge the good and bad in these games, and have an open market to speak our opinions on the internet. When we state our opinions as if they are objectively true, we cut off the ability to really engage with others' opinions and for them to genuinely engage with ours. Now, if you want to keep stating your opinions as facts, go for it. The internet thrives off of that kind of divisiveness, and it'll certainly get you a lot of engagement on Twitter. Life is hard, and the world is chaotic, and really anyone who gets that mad over your opinion kind of has their own shit to worry about, especially when it's about gacha games. However, if you're like me and struggle to understand why it feels like sometimes no one will ever hear you out, even if you're trying to be reasonable, maybe try to slow down. Consider how you would like others to engage with your statement and go.
Fuck everyone in the Gacha space. I'm just fuck them. Just fuck them. I fucking who cares? No, yeah. I mean, Hex is cooking, man. Hex is absolutely cooking. I do wish content creators and the community were more open to people. Not the idiots, not the people who are threatening to dox you and kill you in game and do all these crazy things, but just like have conversations, right? Like, I really like having conversations on the stream and shit because I think it's important to have. And even if I'm wrong, guys, because I don't fucking care if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, okay, like it's not a big deal. But a lot of people don't like to be wrong, whether it's a content creator, a commenter, it doesn't fucking matter, right? You are allowed to be wrong. It is a-okay. So yeah, I agree.
Go from there. Your delivery and framing will affect how people will respond to you.
100%, Drago. 100%.
If you want a massive divisive reaction based on people's feelings.
Also, I don't think so, Sass. I don't think so.
There's plenty of examples on my channel you can look at if you don't mind getting the hate. If you want people to have the chance to hear you and see your side, even if they don't end up agreeing with you, state your opinions as opinions. Give your reasoning for why you feel that way so others can understand, and consider not spending so much time on Twitter. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment below on your thoughts about this yapathon. I thought about this video for a really long time, and it feels really good to finally get it all out, so I hope you enjoyed. I'll see y'all next time. Bye!
W HexJuice. Go to with the sauce. Yeah, everyone just be nice to each other. And also, your opinion. My opinion is better than your opinion. It is what it is. Sucks what you do. Is HexJuice a communication member? I mean, I don't know HexJuice's like personal like life like that, but I know HexJuice is a fucking genius. So I wouldn't be surprised. Because if your opinions are fact is fun, it's what makes sports debates our power. So yo, Captain Cabinet's used Fanny is a crazy username. That is actually insane. Thank you for the follow. Holy shit. What a way to end the video on. Not being on Twitter anymore has really been a blessing for my mental health. Oh, 100% Urson. Twitter is a cesspool. But boys, thank you for watching the video. Mwah, see you in the next one.